Thanks for joining us in the garden today. We are talking about hanging baskets, a really cool way to add a pop of color to your patio and also to just have a different eye level of plant for people. So we have our basket here. How do we get started?
Yeah, so hanging baskets are really iconic, right? Like there are places that you go, you drive down the streets of some of our cities and they've got the big hanging baskets, and they're just a really, a way to really show off in summer that like this is a house that loves flowers, right? So there's a few things to think about when we're talking about doing a hanging basket. One of the biggest mistakes people make is they just do a basket too small. So always do the biggest basket that your spot can take, whether that means how wide it is, but the other thing to think about is how strong that hook is, right? Whatever you're hooking it on, make sure that that can take a weight of a pretty heavy basket over time. But always, the bigger the basket is, the more soil it can take. That means the less watering you're doing because there's that soil that is gonna hold that moisture. And also your plant can just be a lot healthier. Remember, the plant, wherever you plant that, that's as much soil as that plant's ever gonna have to grow in. So you want as big of a home for that plant as possible. So what we have here, we're doing a 14-inch basket is what we're planting up today. We're using a really high moisture retention potting soil. Really important that you get one that holds a lot of moisture because you don't want to be watering. You want to be watering as few times as possible. When it gets 100 degrees, you're going to be out there watering quite often on a hanging basket, and you want to make sure that your soil is holding as much of that as you can. So we're using our Blue Ribbon blend from G&B potting soil today. We're just going to fill it up, kind of have a bit of a heaping amount. And we don't really want to pack this down when we put it in. As we put our plants in, that is going to get packed down on its own. I'm going to take a handful of some fertilizer here. This is just a granular fertilizer. It'll give the plant a good start and kind of get it going for the first while of its life. There are lots and lots of options, lots of colors, lots of just a lot of growing habits for your hanging baskets. Of course, you want whatever it is, you want something that's going to grow over and drape over the side. What we have today, these plants, common name for these is million bells, but calibrachoa is the name of these little plants. They look like a little petunia, but they have a little bell flower. These come in a wide variety of colors. Pretty much any color you can think of. They come in the whites, but they come in the pink, red, or all the orange tones. They come in the purple tones. They come in just a huge variety. So you can pretty much find a color to match whatever you're looking for with these. As you plant these up, you're just going to be making a hole in the kind of the side of the pot. Now notice we're doing a 14-inch pot. We're only using 3 plants. And that's because each of these plants is going to grow over time. It's really going to fill out. It's going to take it's going to look like one massive plant by the time it really gets growing. So as we put these in, we've already put in our fertilizer. And as we go with this basket, as the time goes on, you're going to need to keep fertilizing. When you water these baskets, over time, when you water them, the water is also going to kind of flush out some of that fertilizer we put in the first place. So it's really important to constantly, throughout the life of this plant, to add more fertilizer. A good way to go with that is a water-soluble fertilizer, and that would be like this. Here is a Fertilome brand 20-20-20 blend. So this is one that you would mix up in a gallon of water. Recommend to do this maybe once a week. You do like a tablespoon in a gallon, water it in with that at that time. The plants that you do in hanging baskets are really heavy feeders. The more you fertilize, the better they're going to be. So you really want to make sure you're staying up on the watering, staying up on the fertilizing, and depending on the kind of plant, you might need to do a little bug maintenance as well.
Okay, perfect, thank you. And if you would like to learn more about hanging plants and how to get your own little setup ahead of the summer, you can head into a Grange Co-op store near you, or you can head to our website, KDRV.com, and we'll see you next time in the garden.